Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tear, where I've been featuring my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. And today I'm up to song number 2589, and that one is Some Enchanted Evening by Jay and the Americans. This came out in 1965, at least their version did, and it went to number 13. But this song has a very long history. It was actually first written by Rodgers and Hammerstein, and it was part of. Well, here's a picture of the group Jay and the Americans early on. I'll get to them later. But I want to talk about the song Some Enchanted Evening first. So, like I said, it was written in 1949, and it was part of the score for this very famous Broadway musical called South Pacific, written by Rodgers and Hammerstein. This was the original Broadway play, I guess. Uh, and and then it was so successful. I think it ran for something like 5 years on Broadway, and then in 1958, it got made into a movie, a musical movie, um, starring I forget who was in it, but it was a very good movie. I've seen it a few times, and uh, yeah, I guess the movie was starred Rossano Brazzi as Emily DeBeck and Mitzi Gaynor as Nellie Forbish and several other famous actors and actresses. I guess they were the main ones. So anyway, so like I said, this song, mainly because it was featured in this very famous musical, had several recordings. I'll just go through the Billboard hit version. So the original was by Ezio Penza. I guess he was in the original Broadway cast, and his version went to number 7 in 1949. Later, Perry Como. There were several versions that were hits in 1949, the year that the play came out, and the next was by Perry Como. His version went to number 1. Frank Sinatra, he had a version that went to number 6. And Bing Crosby had a version that went to number 3. Finally, Joe Stafford had a version that went to number 4, all in 1949. So a lot of hit versions just in that year. And then Jay and the Americans hit version came out in 1965, the one I'm featuring today. Finally, Jane Oliver had a hit version that went to number 97, just barely made the Hot 100 in 1976. So those are the Billboard hit versions of Some Enchanted Evening. Very, very popular song. May as well mention one other interesting fact about this song. I don't know how many guys saw the movie American Graffiti, but there was a scene where Harrison Ford was singing. He was the leader of the Pharaohs, the bad gang in the movie, and he was singing it to Cindy Williams right after he picks her up. And the next scene right after he sings the beginning of the song was when what's his name? Charles Martin Smith, who was playing Terry, the kind of nerdy guy with glasses. He was throwing up from the wine he drank that he stole from a liquor store. I just thought I'd mention that. But anyway, now I'm going to talk about the band Jay and the Americans. They were a very popular band. They got started in 1960. They were originally known as the Harbor Lights. They were from Bell Harbor, Queens, New York City. And the original members shown here were John, or known as Jay Taylor. He was later replaced by Jay Black. They also had Kenny Vance, Howie Kane, and Sandy Deane. So that was the original lineup of Jay and the Americans. And like I said, they had several big hits. I'm just going to go through them. So their first hit was in 1962, was called She Cried. That one went to number 5. In 1963, they had Only in America, which went to number 25, and Come Dance With Me, which went to number 76. In 1964, they had Come a Little Bit Closer, which went to number 3. I believe that was their biggest hit. Later that year, they had Let's Lock the Door and Throw Away the Key, which went to number 11. In 1965, they had Think of the Good Times, which went to number 57. Cara Mia, which went to number 4. The one I preached today, Some Enchanted Evening, which went to 13. And Sunday and Me, which went to 18. In 1966, they had Why Can't You Bring Me Home, which went to 63. Crying, which went to 25. I believe that's the same song originally done by Roy Orbison, later covered by Don McLean as well in 1981. They also had Living Above Your Head, which went to 76, and He's Raining on My Sunshine, which went to number 90. In 1968, they had a cover of a popular Drifters song called This Magic Moment. The Drifters version, I think, went to number 16 in 1960, but Jay and the Americans had a bigger hit with it. Their version went to number 6 in 1968. And then in 1969, they had When You Dance, which went to 70, Hushabye, which went to 62, and Walking in the Rain, which went to 19. Finally, in 1970, they had Capture in the Moment, which went to 57, and in 1971, they had There Goes My Baby, another Drifters song. Their version went to number 90. So those were the hits for Jay and the Americans. Like I said, very popular. Musical vocal group. And I like a lot of their songs. Several of their songs are coming up later on my list. But anyway, that completes my profile of Some Enchanted Evening by Jay and the Americans. Thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.